The Great Hall of the Galactic Council stretched wide like a massive bowl carved from black stone. Thousands of alien beings filled the curved seats that rose in circles around the center floor. Their eyes, tentacles, and various sensing organs all focused on three humans who stood in the middle of the room. Energy chains glowed around their wrists and ankles, keeping them locked in place but allowing them to stand tall. General Kim Dae-ho looked straight ahead without moving his face. His gray hair was cut short in military style, and his uniform bore the marks of many battles. Deep scars ran across his left cheek from a fight with alien forces on the edge of human space. He had been fighting aliens for 30 years, and never once showed fear. Today would be no different. General Lee Bo-ram stood to his right. She was smaller than the two men, but her eyes held the sharp look of someone who could see 10 moves ahead in any battle. Her black hair was pulled back tight and her hands stayed calm even with the energy chains around them. She had planned more winning battles than any other human commander. The aliens knew her name and feared what her mind could create. General, Park Jin-woo was the youngest of the three. His face showed a small smile that made the alien guard step back. That smile had been the last thing many alien soldiers saw before their ships exploded or their bases fell to human attack. He looked around the room like he was counting something only he could see. The Velkari ambassador rose from the highest seat in the council chamber. His insect-like body was twice as tall as a human, and his wings made soft buzzing sounds as they moved. 4 arms gestured toward the 3 humans, while his compound eyes reflected the chamber lights like broken glass. When he spoke, his voice came out in sharp clicks that the translation devices turned into human words. These 3 humans stand before the Galactic Council charged with crimes against 17 different species, the ambassador announced. They have broken every law of war that civilized beings follow. They have destroyed entire colonies. They have killed millions of innocent alien civilians. They have turned space battles into slaughter. The alien crowd made angry sounds. Some hissed, others clicked, and many produced noises that had no human equivalent. Signs and banners appeared showing images of destroyed alien cities and burning spaceships. The translation devices worked hard to turn the babel of alien languages into human words. But the message was clear. These aliens wanted human blood. A Zoranti representative stood up from the middle section. His blue skin glowed with anger patterns, and his 4 eyes fixed on General Kim. The human called Kim Dae-ho ordered the bombing of our medical stations during the Outer Rim War. 300,000 Zoranti doctors and nurses died in those attacks. Healers who never carried weapons. General Kim's expression did not change. He had heard this accusation many times, but he knew the truth. Human intelligence had proven that those medical stations were actually weapon factories building poison gas for use against human colonies. The evidence was clear in human files, but the aliens either did not know this or did not care. A Nexari delegate pointed one of her 8 tentacles at General Lee. This female human created the battle plan that destroyed our home defense fleet. 2 million Nexari warriors died when their ships were trapped and blown apart. She turned space itself into a weapon against us. The small smile on General Park's face grew a little wider. He remembered that battle. The Nexari had been using their defense fleet to attack human cargo ships carrying food to colony worlds. When the humans finally struck back, the aliens suddenly called it a war crime. More aliens stood to speak. Each one told stories of human attacks that had killed their people. Each one described the 3 generals as monsters who enjoyed death and destruction. The evidence seemed to fill entire databanks. Recordings of human military meetings, orders signed by the generals, reports from alien survivors who had watched human forces destroy their homes. The Velkari ambassador spread all 4 arms wide. The evidence is clear and cannot be argued against. These 3 humans planned and carried out the worst attacks on peaceful alien peoples in galactic history. They have violated the warfare accords that every civilized species has signed. They have committed crimes that demand the ultimate punishment. The alien crowd grew louder with approval. Some started chanting words that the translators turned into "death to the humans" and "justice for our dead." Others began showing images of the destroyed alien worlds and the names of those who had died in human attacks. General Park looked up at the Velkari ambassador and spoke for the first time. His voice was calm and clear. "May I ask how you plan to carry out this ultimate punishment?" The ambassador's wings buzzed faster with what might have been pleasure. "The Galactic Council has voted. You will die by hanging, as is the custom of your own violent species. Your deaths will be broadcast across all civilized worlds so that other humans will see what happens to those who commit such crimes." The three generals looked at each other for just a moment. Something passed between them that the aliens could not see or understand. General Lee nodded slightly. General Kim's shoulders relaxed just a little. General Park's smile became almost happy. "When will this execution take place?" General Park asked. "In 3 days," the ambassador replied. "Here on Nexus Prime, where all species can witness justice being done. Your bodies will hang until the flesh falls from your bones as a warning to any humans who think they can murder aliens without consequences." The alien crowd cheered and made celebration sounds. Many started planning to attend the execution in person. Others began sending messages to their home worlds about the coming death of the 3 most feared human military leaders. As the guards moved to take them back to their cells, General Kim spoke quietly to his fellow commanders. 3 days should be enough time." General Lee nodded. "All the pieces are in place." General Park looked back at the celebrating aliens one more time. They have no idea what they just did. The energy chains hummed as the guards led the 3 humans away from the council chamber. Behind them, thousands of aliens continued celebrating, what they believed would be the beginning of the end for human military power. They had captured and condemned the 3 most dangerous human commanders. Soon those humans would be dead, and the galaxy would be safe from human aggression. None of the aliens noticed that the 3 generals walked to their cells with the steady steps of soldiers who knew their mission was just beginning. The trap had been set perfectly, and the aliens had walked right into it. In 3 days, everything would change. The trial was over, but the real battle was about to begin. 3 days before the trial began, Admiral Choi Soo-jin stood in the command center of the stealth ship Silent Thunder. The ship hung invisible in the dark space between stars, hidden from every sensor the aliens had ever built. Around her, dozens of human officers worked at control stations that glowed with soft blue light. Each person knew that the next few days would decide whether humanity lived or died as a species. Commander Yoon Tae-sung approached the admiral with a data pad in his hands. His face showed the strain of months of careful planning and preparation. "Admiral, the final intelligence reports are ready for your review. Operation Lazarus is green for execution." Choi took the data pad and read through the information one more time. Every detail had to be perfect because there would be no second chances. The 3 generals who were about to die had volunteered for this mission knowing they would never see their families again. Their sacrifice would only matter if everything else went according to plan. "Show me the alien fleet positions again," Choi ordered. The main display screen lit up with a map of the galaxy. Red dots marked alien military ships and bases. There were thousands of them, all moving toward positions around human space. The pattern was clear to anyone who knew how to read military movements. This was not a defensive formation or a patrol pattern. This was preparation for total war. "Computer analysis confirms it," Yoon said. "Every major alien species has moved their fleets to attack positions. Based on current movements, they will be ready to strike all human colonies simultaneously within the next week." Choi nodded grimly. Human intelligence had been tracking these movements for months, but now the picture was complete. The Galactic Council was not just planning to execute 3 human generals. They were using the trial as a distraction while they prepared to wipe out every human in the galaxy. Dr. Han Mi-young entered the command center carrying a small metal case. She was the head of the Human Xenobiology Division and the creator of humanity's most secret weapons. Her work had been classified at levels so high that even most human military commanders did not know it existed. "The biological collectors are ready for deployment," she announced. Each general has been fitted with the microscopic devices during their regular medical checks. They will not know the devices are there, but when activated, they will gather genetic samples from every alien. species within a 50-meter radius. And the aliens will not detect them? Choi asked. Impossible, Han replied. The devices are smaller than most viruses and designed to look like normal human cellular material. Even if the aliens scan the generals completely, they will find nothing unusual. This was the most important part of the plan. For years, human scientists had been trying to create weapons that could target specific alien species without harming humans. The problem was getting clean genetic samples from alien leaders who stayed far away from human territory. The execution would bring representatives from over 100 alien species to one location, close enough for the collectors to work. Lieutenant Colonel Nam So-young joined the group around the display screen. She commanded the special forces, teams that would carry out the next phase of the operation. Her soldiers had been training in secret for over a year, learning to use weapons and tactics that no alien had ever seen before. All strike teams are in position, she reported. We have forces hidden near every major alien military base and government center. When the signal comes, we can begin simultaneous attacks across the galaxy. The scope of what humanity was planning was staggering. While the aliens thought they were preparing to destroy humanity, human forces had been quietly moving into position to strike first. Ships using experimental stealth technology had carried assault teams to hundreds of target locations. Each team had enough firepower to cripple alien military installations, but they were under strict orders to wait for the signal. Captain Shin Da-eun looked up from her communication station. Admiral, we are receiving final confirmation codes from all fleet commanders. Every human military unit in the galaxy is ready to begin coordinated attacks on your command. Choi felt the weight of command settle on her shoulders. In a few hours, she would give orders that would start the largest military operation in human history. The success or failure of everything would depend on perfect timing and the courage of 3 generals who were about to die for their species. What about the evidence against our generals? Choi asked. Are we certain the aliens will not discover the truth? Yoon smiled for the first time in weeks. The evidence was created by our own intelligence teams. Every war crime the aliens think our generals committed was actually carried out by alien commanders against human colonies. We simply changed the names and locations in the files and made sure alien spies would find them. This had been the most delicate part of the deception. Human intelligence had spent months creating false evidence that would convince the aliens to put the 3 generals on trial. The crimes were real, but the perpetrators were actually alien military leaders who had committed atrocities against human civilians. By switching the details, humans had tricked the aliens into condemning the wrong people, while the real war criminals continued to plan genocide. The aliens were so eager to find evidence of human crimes that they never checked the details carefully. Yoon continued. They saw what they wanted to see and believed what they wanted to believe. Dr. Han opened her metal case and showed the Admiral 3 small devices that looked like ordinary medical implants. These are the final components. Each general will receive one during their last medical examination before the execution. When activated, they will release the biological collectors and also send the signal to begin our counterattack. The timing had to be perfect. The collectors needed several hours to gather genetic samples from all the alien species at the execution. During that time, human forces would move into final attack positions. When the generals died, their implants would automatically transmit the attack signal to every human military unit in the galaxy. How long will it take to weaponize the genetic samples? Choi asked. 6 hours from collection to deployment, Han answered. The biological weapons will not kill the aliens, but they will make them too sick to fight effectively. We want prisoners and information, not dead bodies. This was another crucial element of the plan. Humanity could have created weapons that would exterminate entire alien species, but that was not the goal. The objective was to defeat the aliens quickly and completely, while demonstrating that humans were capable of mercy even toward those who had planned genocide. Officer. Lee Jaemin turned from his monitoring station with urgent news. Admiral, alien fleet movements are accelerating. Our analysts believe they plan to begin their attack within 48 hours of the execution. Then we will have to be faster, Choi replied. Send word to all teams that Operation Lazarus will commence exactly as planned. The moment our generals die, we strike everywhere at once. The command center fell silent as everyone contemplated what was about to happen. 3 of humanity's greatest military leaders would die in a few days to give their species the chance to survive. Their sacrifice would trigger a war that would reshape the entire galaxy. Admiral, Commander Yoon said quietly, the generals know they will not survive this mission. They volunteered anyway. Choi nodded. They understood that sometimes leaders must die so their people can live. History will remember their sacrifice. As the silent thunder continued its hidden patrol between the stars, the crew prepared for the most important mission of their lives. In less than 72 hours, 3 human generals would hang on Nexus Prime while billions of aliens watched and celebrated. What the aliens did not know was that those deaths would mark the beginning of humanity's rise to power and the end of alien dominance in the galaxy. The trap was set, and the aliens were walking straight into it. Soon the hunters would discover they had become the hunted. The central plaza of Nexus Prime had been transformed into an execution theater that could be seen from orbit. Massive screens surrounded the raised platform where 3 wooden gallows stood waiting for their victims. Camera drones buzzed through the air like mechanical insects, capturing every angle for broadcast to billions of viewers across the galaxy. Alien representatives from over 100 species filled the viewing stands that rose in circles around the death platform. General
Kim Dae-ho walked slowly up the steps to the gallows with his hands bound behind his back.
He wore his military uniform with all the medals and ribbons he had earned in 30 years of fighting. His face showed no fear or regret as he looked out at the crowd of aliens who had come to watch him die. The energy chains around his ankles made soft humming sounds with each step, but he moved with the steady pace of a soldier on parade. The Velkari ambassador stood at a podium near the gallows, his 4 arms raised for silence. When the alien crowd quieted down, his buzzing voice carried across the plaza through hundreds of speakers. Today we see justice done for the crimes committed against peaceful civilized species. These 3 humans will pay with their lives for the murder of millions of innocent aliens. General Kim stepped onto the wooden platform and turned to face the main broadcast camera. The device that would carry his image to every corner of the galaxy focused on his weathered face and calm eyes. He spoke in a clear voice that the translation systems carried to alien ears in dozens of different languages. I am General Kim Dae-ho of the Human Space Defense Force. Today you hang 3 humans who served their species with honor. Tomorrow you will discover what happens when you threaten to destroy our entire race. He paused and looked directly at the Velkari ambassador. We die knowing that our deaths serve a greater purpose than our lives ever could. The alien crowd made angry noises and shook their signs showing pictures of destroyed alien worlds. Many called out insults and threats in their native languages. But some of the older alien military commanders in the crowd shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They had fought humans before, and knew that human soldiers did not make empty threats even when facing death. The executioner, a massive Groken with gray skin and 4 arms, placed the rope around General Kim's neck. The general stood straight and tall as the rough fibers touched his throat. He closed his eyes for a moment and pressed a small spot on his uniform that looked like a decoration, but was actually a hidden switch. Deep inside his body, microscopic devices activated and began their work. General Lee Boram climbed the steps to the second gallows with the same steady pace as her fellow commander. Her black hair moved slightly in the artificial breeze created by the plaza's air circulation system. She had spent the previous night writing letters to her family that would never be delivered and reviewing battle plans that would never be used. Now she faced her final mission with the same calm focus she had brought to every command decision. I am General Lee Boram, she announced to the cameras and the crowd. I have served humanity for 25 years, and I am proud of every battle. We have won against those who would destroy us. We die as we lived, protecting our people from those who seek our extinction. She activated her own hidden device and felt a slight warmth as the microscopic collectors began gathering genetic material from every alien within range. As the rope settled around her neck, General Lee spoke one more time. To the humans watching this broadcast, remember that death is not the end of our mission. It is the beginning of our victory. She looked up at the camera with steady eyes. Today, 3 soldiers die. Tomorrow, our species lives forever. The alien crowd grew louder with celebration sounds. Many believed they were watching the beginning of the end for human military resistance. The 3 most feared human commanders would soon be dead, and alien fleets could complete their planned attacks on human colonies without facing organized opposition. General Park Jin-woo approached the 3rd gallows with the same small smile he had worn throughout the trial. He moved with the relaxed confidence of someone who knew a secret that no one else understood. His uniform was perfectly pressed and his medals caught the artificial sunlight as he climbed the wooden steps. The smile never left his face even as he reached the platform. "I am General Park Jin-woo," he said to the cameras. "I want to thank the Galactic Council for bringing so many important alien leaders to one place at the same time. You have made our job much easier than we ever hoped it could be." His smile widened as confused murmurs spread through the alien crowd. "In a few minutes we will be dead. In a few hours you will understand why we volunteered for this mission." The Velkari ambassador's wings buzzed with annoyance. "You speak nonsense in your final moments, human. Your deaths will bring peace to the galaxy and safety to all civilized species." General Park laughed as the executioner approached with the 3rd rope. "Peace? Safety? You plan to exterminate every human in the galaxy within the next week. We know about your fleet movements. We know about your plans for total genocide. But what you do not know is that we have been preparing for this moment for months." A ripple of unease passed through some sections of the alien crowd. Military commanders exchanged glances while political leaders whispered to their advisors. How could the humans know about classified alien military operations? The fleet movements were supposed to be secret. As the rope settled around his neck, General Park spoke his final words to the galaxy. "Computer, execute Lazarus Protocol Authorization Park 77 Alpha." The hidden device in his body activated, along with those carried by the other generals. Across the plaza, invisible collectors spread out like electronic ghosts, sampling the genetic material of every alien species present. The executioner checked all 3 ropes and stepped back to the control lever that would drop the platform from under the condemned men. The Velkari ambassador raised one arm to give the final signal. Billions of aliens across the galaxy watched their screens, waiting to see the 3 most dangerous humans die. For the safety of all civilized species and in the name of galactic justice, the ambassador announced, "Let the sentence be carried out." The lever moved and the platform dropped away. The 3 human generals fell, and the ropes caught them with sharp snapping sounds that carried clearly through the speakers. Their bodies jerked once and then hung still. General Kim Dae-ho, General Lee Bo-ram, and General Park Jin-woo were dead. The alien crowd erupted in celebration. Cheers, whistles, clicks, and a dozen other sounds of joy filled the plaza. Signs and banners waved as aliens danced and embraced each other. On countless worlds across the galaxy, alien populations celebrated the death of their greatest human enemies. But in the command centers of alien military forces, a different mood was taking hold. Fleet commanders were receiving urgent reports that made no sense. Human ships were appearing on sensors in locations where no human ships should exist. Bases that had been completely secure were suddenly under attack by forces that seemed to come from nowhere. Admiral Zexhai of the Velkari Navy stared at his tactical display with growing alarm. Red warning lights showed human attacks on 17 different star systems simultaneously. "How is this possible?" he demanded. "Our intelligence said all major human fleets were defending their core worlds." His intelligence officer's voice cracked with stress. "Sir, these are not ships from any known human fleet. They are using technology we have never seen before. Our sensors cannot track them properly and our weapons cannot lock onto them." Across the galaxy, the same scene was playing out in alien command centers. The celebration of the generals' deaths was turning into panic, as reports flooded in of coordinated human attacks on hundreds of targets. The aliens had expected to begin their genocide of humanity within days, but instead found themselves fighting for survival against an enemy they had completely underestimated. On Nexus Prime, the bodies of the three generals swayed gently in the artificial breeze while invisible collectors continued their work. The genetic samples they gathered would soon become weapons specifically designed to target each alien species. But more importantly, the execution had served its real purpose, gathering every important alien leader in one place, where human intelligence could track their movements and human weapons could target their homeworlds. As the alien celebration continued around the gallows, automated systems in the bodies of the dead generals transmitted final confirmation codes to human forces across the galaxy. Operation Lazarus was now in full effect, and the real war was beginning. The three men who had volunteered to die for their species had completed their mission perfectly. The aliens thought they had won a great victory by executing three human commanders. They had no idea that those deaths had just triggered the complete destruction of alien military power and the rise of humanity as the dominant force in the galaxy. Fleet Admiral Oh Hyun-soo stood in the command center of the mobile fortress Retribution as emergency alerts flooded in from across the galaxy. The massive ship hung in space like a steel mountain, bristling with weapons that no alien had ever seen before. Around him, hundreds of human officers coordinated the largest military operation in galactic history, while holographic displays showed the results of simultaneous attacks on alien targets throughout known space. Admiral, strike. Group 7 reports successful capture of the Zeranti home fleet. Commander Lee reported from his position at the tactical station. Enemy ships disabled with minimal casualties. The biological weapons worked exactly as predicted. Oh nodded grimly as he watched the tactical displays update with each new victory. For 6 months, human forces had been moving into position using stealth technology that made entire fleets invisible to alien sensors. While the aliens prepared their genocide plans, humanity had been preparing the ultimate counterstrike. Status report on the genetic collectors. Oh ordered. Dr. Han Mi-young looked up from her mobile laboratory station. Complete success, Admiral. We have clean genetic samples from 93 different alien species. The biological weapons are already being manufactured and distributed to our strike teams. Each weapon is specifically designed to target one species while leaving all others completely unharmed. This was the key to humanity's strategy. The biological weapons would not kill the aliens, but would make them too sick to fight for several days. This would give human forces time to capture alien military leaders and seize control of their fleets and bases without causing unnecessary deaths. Humanity wanted to win the war, not commit genocide. Captain Shin Da-eun approached with a communication device in her hand. Admiral, we are receiving surrender requests from 12 alien species. Their military commanders cannot understand how we are attacking so many targets at once with perfect coordination. The answer was simple, but the aliens could not see it. While they had been focused on the trial and execution of 3 human generals, humanity had been moving thousands of ships and millions of soldiers into attack positions. The execution had provided the perfect distraction, while also giving human intelligence the genetic information needed to create species-specific weapons. Admiral, Lieutenant Yoon called from the communications station. We are receiving a transmission from the Velkari homeworld. Their defense fleet is reporting complete systems failure across all ships simultaneously. Oh walked to the main display screen where the image of Velkari Prime appeared. The planet was surrounded by hundreds of alien warships that now drifted helplessly in space with their crews too sick to operate their vessels. Human capture teams were already boarding the disabled ships and taking control of their weapons and computer systems. Open a channel to the planet. Oh ordered. The screen shifted to show the interior of the Velkari Government Center. Ambassador Treshkala, who had spoken at the execution just hours before, now looked pale and shaken as he stared at reports of military disasters across alien space. This is Fleet Admiral Oh Hyun-soo of the Human Space Defense Force, Oh announced. Your fleet is captured, your military bases are under human control, and your soldiers are unable to fight. I am calling to offer you terms for surrender. The Velkari ambassador's wings trembled with shock. This is impossible. How did you coordinate attacks across the entire galaxy? Our intelligence said all human fleets were defending your core worlds. O smiled coldly. Your intelligence was wrong about many things. You thought you were executing 3 war criminals when you were actually killing 3 heroes who volunteered to die for their species. You thought you were preparing to destroy humanity when you were actually gathering all your leaders in one place for us to target. You thought you were the hunters when you were actually the prey. But the evidence against your generals was clear. The ambassador protested. The war crimes, the attacks on civilian targets, the violations of galactic law. The evidence was created by human intelligence, O replied. Every crime you thought our generals committed was actually carried out by your own military commanders against human colonies. We simply changed the names and locations in the files and let your spies find them. You were so eager to believe humans were monsters that you never checked if the evidence was real. The truth hit the ambassador like a physical blow. The entire trial had been based on false information that humans had deliberately created. The 3 generals had been innocent of the charges, but had allowed themselves to be executed anyway, to complete their mission. Dr. Han stepped forward to address the alien leader. The biological weapons currently affecting your people will wear off in approximately 72 hours. Your soldiers will recover completely with no permanent damage. We could have created weapons that would kill every member of your species, but we chose mercy instead. Why? The ambassador asked in a broken voice. We planned to exterminate your entire race. Why show us mercy we did not plan to show you? Because, O replied, we are not like you. We fight to defend ourselves, not to commit genocide. The 3 generals who died today believed that strength should be used to protect life, not destroy it. Their sacrifice proved that humanity deserves to survive, while those who plan genocide do not deserve to rule. Reports continued flooding in from human strike teams across the galaxy. The Nixari core worlds had surrendered after their entire battle fleet was disabled in the first hour of fighting. The Grokan military had collapsed when their command centers were captured simultaneously on 17 different planets. Species after species found their military forces crippled by weapons they could not understand and attacks they had never seen coming. Admiral, Commander Kim announced, total count shows successful operations against 437 major alien military targets. Estimated alien casualties are less than 1% of their total military forces. We have achieved complete tactical superiority across all theaters of operation. The scope of the victory was staggering. In less than 6 hours, humanity had defeated military forces that outnumbered them 10 to 1 and controlled territory spanning thousands of star systems. The key had been perfect coordination, superior technology, and the willingness of 3 generals to sacrifice their lives for the mission. Captain Nam approached with the latest intelligence reports. Admiral, our teams have recovered the bodies of Generals Kim, Lee, and Park from Nexus Prime. They will be returned to Earth for burial with full military honors. O nodded solemnly. Make sure their families know that their sacrifice saved, not just humanity, but prevented the aliens from making the same mistake twice. Because of what those 3 men did, we can build peace instead of just winning war. The communication channel from Velkari Prime crackled back to life. Admiral O, what are your terms for our surrender? Complete disarmament of all military forces, O replied without hesitation. Dismantling of all weapons capable of destroying inhabited planets. Trial of all military and political leaders who planned genocide against humanity. Reparations for human colonies that were attacked. And acceptance of human leadership in a new galactic government that will prevent any species from attempting genocide again. The ambassador's compound eyes reflected the lights of his command center as he considered the terms. And if we refuse? Then we will demonstrate that the biological weapons we use today were the merciful option, O said quietly. We have other weapons that are not so gentle. The choice is yours, but choose quickly. Every hour you delay costs lives that could be saved. Across the galaxy, similar conversations were taking place as alien leaders realized the true scope of their defeat. The species that had planned to exterminate humanity now found themselves completely at human mercy. The 3 generals had died believing that their sacrifice would save their people, and they had been proven right in the most complete way possible. Dr. Han reviewed her final reports on the biological weapons. Admiral, all alien military forces should be fully recovered and ready for processing within 3 days. Our medical teams are standing by to provide treatment and ensure no lasting effects from the weapons. Good, O replied. We want them healthy enough to understand what happened and why it happened. They need to learn that attempting genocide has consequences, but that humanity is capable of mercy even toward those who planned our destruction. As the Retribution continued its patrol through space filled with captured alien ships, O reflected on how completely the galaxy had changed in just a few hours. 3 human generals had walked to their deaths believing their sacrifice would save humanity. Instead, their courage had triggered the rise of humanity as the dominant power in the galaxy and the end of alien plans for human extinction. The hunters had become the hunted, the condemned had become the victors, and the galaxy would never again underestimate the species that turned execution into victory. 6 months after the execution of the 3 generals, President Jang Yun-hee stood before the rebuilt Galactic Assembly on Earth. The Great Hall had been constructed where the old United Nations building once stood, but now it housed representatives from over 200 species instead of just human nations. Sunlight streamed through massive windows that looked out over gardens where alien and human children played together, under the watchful eyes of mixed-species security teams. The alien delegates sat in curved rows that faced the speaking platform, where Zhang prepared to address the new galactic government. Many of the aliens still bore the marks of their recent defeat, bandages from injuries sustained during the human attacks, tired eyes from months of rebuilding their shattered military forces, and the humbled expressions of beings who had learned what it meant to face superior technology and perfect military planning. Representatives of the Galactic Federation, Zhang began, her voice carrying clearly through translation devices that had been upgraded with human technology. We gather today to mark the completion of our new government and the beginning of a new age of peace among the species of this galaxy. In the front row, Ambassador Treshkala of the Velkari shifted uncomfortably in his specially designed chair. His wings had been clipped as part of his species' surrender terms, marking him as a defeated military leader, but he had been allowed to serve as a representative to the new government. The other alien delegates showed similar signs of their defeat and acceptance of human authority. 6 months ago, Zhang continued, the old Galactic Council made a choice that changed the course of galactic history. They chose to execute 3 innocent human generals while secretly planning the genocide of our entire species. Today we live with the consequences of that choice, consequences that could have been avoided if the aliens had chosen cooperation instead of extermination. Dr. Han Mi-young sat in the section reserved for human scientific advisors, reviewing reports on the biological rehabilitation of alien populations. The species-specific weapons had worked exactly as designed, leaving no permanent damage while demonstrating humanity's ability to target any alien race with surgical precision. The message had been clear. Humans could have exterminated every alien species in the galaxy but had chosen mercy instead. The new Galactic Federation operates on principles that the old Council never understood, Zhang announced. Transparency in all government actions. Equal representation for all sentient species regardless of size or military power. Strict prohibition against genocide or species-wide persecution. And most importantly, the understanding that diversity makes us stronger rather than weaker. General Nam So-young, now promoted to Supreme Commander of Galactic Security Forces, watched the proceedings from the military section. Her mixed-species peacekeeping units had proven remarkably effective at maintaining order while alien societies rebuilt themselves under human guidance. The key was treating former enemies as future allies rather than permanent threats. Some of you may wonder why humanity chose to show mercy to species that planned our complete destruction, Zhang said, addressing the alien delegates directly. The answer lies in the sacrifice of 3 generals who believed that strength should protect life rather than destroy it. Generals Kim Dae-ho, Lee Bo-ram, and Park Jin-woo died believing that victory without honor is meaningless, and that true strength comes from the ability to show mercy to defeated enemies. The memorial section of the assembly hall displayed holographic images of the 3 executed generals along with the names of every human who had died during the brief war that followed their deaths. The final casualty count had been remarkably low considering the scope of the conflict. Fewer than 10,000 humans and aliens combined had lost their lives in a war that reshaped galactic civilization. Admiral Oh Hyun-soo entered the hall as Jang continued her speech. His fleets now patrolled star systems throughout the galaxy, maintaining peace and ensuring that no species attempted to rebuild military forces capable of planetary destruction. The alien races had been allowed to keep defensive forces, but their ability to wage aggressive war had been permanently eliminated. The Federation Charter requires all member species to contribute to galactic defense and scientific advancement, Jang explained. But it also guarantees that no species will be forced to abandon their cultural identity or submit to cultural domination by others. We seek unity, not uniformity. This principle had been crucial to gaining alien acceptance of human leadership. Unlike the old Galactic Council, which had attempted to force all species to adopt similar governmental and social structures, the Federation celebrated diversity while maintaining common standards for basic rights and military limitations. Colonel Lim Jae-ho stood to present the military report to the Assembly. His uniform now bore the insignia of the Federation Defense Force, a mixed unit that included carefully selected alien officers who had proven their loyalty to the new order. Galactic security remained stable with no significant threats to Federation member worlds. All species are complying with military limitation treaties and contributing to joint defense initiatives. The transformation had been remarkable. Species that had been enemies for centuries now worked together on projects ranging from scientific research to artistic exchanges. The threat of human military superiority had forced cooperation, but the benefits of that cooperation had made it sustainable. We also announced today the completion of the memorial complex on Nexus Prime, Jang said. The site where Generals Kim, Lee, and Park gave their lives for galactic peace will now serve as a reminder to all species of the cost of hatred and the value of sacrifice. The memorial had been built around the original execution site, preserving the gallows where the 3 generals died while adding gardens, museums, and educational centers. Alien children now learned about the war that had changed everything, and the human generals who had chosen death over the destruction of their enemies. President Kim Tae-min of the former Zoranti Empire stood to address the assembly. His species had been among the most aggressive supporters of human genocide, but were now among the most cooperative members of the Federation. We acknowledge that our actions 6 months ago were motivated by fear and ignorance. The human response taught us that true strength lies not in the ability to destroy one's enemies, but in the wisdom to transform them into allies. Similar statements came from representatives of dozens of other species. The pattern was consistent. Initial resistance to human authority had given way to acceptance as the benefits of Federation membership became clear. Trade increased, scientific advancement accelerated, and conflicts that had raged for millennia were resolved through negotiation rather than warfare. The Federation Council will now vote on the final resolution establishing permanent galactic law, Jang announced. All those in favor of Resolution 01, the establishment of the Galactic Peace Accords in memory of Generals Kim Dae-ho, Lee Bo-ram, and Park Jin-woo. Every hand, tentacle, wing, and appendage in the hall rose in unanimous support. The vote was a formality since no species could afford to oppose human leadership. But the symbolism was important. The galaxy was choosing peace and cooperation over war and genocide. As the assembly session concluded, alien delegates mingled with human representatives in the reception areas surrounding the main hall. Conversations that would have been impossible 6 months earlier now took place routinely as former enemies learned to work together for common goals. Ambassador Treshikala approached Admiral O with visible nervousness. Admiral, I wanted to thank you personally for the mercy shown to my people during the transition period. We understand now that our plans for genocide were both morally wrong and strategically foolish. O nodded gravely. The 3 generals who died for this peace believed that even enemies could become friends if given the chance. Your willingness to embrace that change honors their sacrifice. Dr. Han reviewed the final medical reports on alien populations. Complete recovery in all species affected by the biological weapons. No lasting effects, no genetic damage, no reduction in life expectancy. The weapons accomplished their purpose without causing unnecessary suffering. This had been crucial to establishing the moral authority that made human leadership acceptable to alien populations. If humans had used their technological superiority to commit genocide in return for planned genocide, the cycle of hatred would have continued. Instead, the demonstration of both power and restraint had broken that cycle permanently. As evening fell over the Federation capital, President Jiang stood at the window of her office looking out at the mixed-species neighborhoods that had grown up around the government complex. Human and alien families lived side by side, their children attending integrated schools and playing games that combined elements from dozens of different cultures. The transformation was not complete and might never be, but it was sustainable. The galaxy had learned that attempting genocide carried unacceptable risks, while cooperation brought benefits that war could never provide. The three generals who had volunteered to die for their species had achieved something far greater than military victory. They had created the foundation for lasting peace.